Okay, so I'm Kevin Shinpaugh. I'm the Director of IT here at VBI. And, oops, we went the wrong way there. So you've kind of seen a common theme from this morning. We've seen that there's a lot of laboratories that are generating data. And as we look for, in the past, it used to be a very small amount of data, but that data load is now increasing. And so this is a report for the Department of Energy. So they said that data-intensive and compute-intensive applications are the key components for driving science in the 21st century. And so they kind of came up with this idea that our traditional pillars of science were experimentation and theory. And then in the 2000s, we started seeing that doing simulations, large-scale computer simulations, were also another key component of science. So there you could probably look at, in the astronomy field, you could do a virtual laboratory. So we can't study how stars are formed or how galaxies are formed, but you can do that sort of modeling and simulation on a computer. Same thing with proteins. Looking at how they fold, you can probably see the beginning state and the end state, but when you're trying to instrument this stuff and going in the process, you may not be able to catch that information, but you can do that sort of modeling on the computer. Now we're beginning to see that we're coming in the kind of this, a lot of people say big data, but it's really data intensive. So it's using data that's all around us. So this could be healthcare data. Maybe we're looking at healthcare data and trying to figure out what correlations are there for people with a certain genetic sequence that might have some risks of cancers, et cetera. Carla kind of touched on this a little bit this morning. So we have data generation. This can be from laboratories. This could be from Twitter feeds. So in the case of maybe NDSSL, they may be taking Twitter feeds looking at if people are saying, oh, I have the flu. And so then they might be able to have some geographic information about that person. They can then throw that data into their model. They can say that now, okay, Bob Smith in Flagstaff, Arizona has the flu, and maybe we know enough information about this population set that now we can do a simulation on a large computer. So if we go through this, we have data generation, then you have to process that data. So you're either capturing that data, trying to go through the data and figure out what key points you want, and then doing some mining and discovery. So Carla had also in their predictions, and then also validations. So in the case of NDSSL, they're looking at trying to influence policy. So we could be looking at, again, we mentioned the flu. They could look at different ways of doing vaccinations or maybe quarantines that might help prevent the spread. So the key component here at VBI for doing some of this research is Shadowpacks. Currently it's about 4,000 compute cores, or actually 3,300 compute cores, and about 14 terabytes of memory. And this has grown organically over time. So we started this about 4 years ago. And so various groups have now contributed to the system itself. And so we've gotten it to grow up into this size here. And really it's a hybrid compute model. So there's nodes with different sets of memory, different sets of processors. Some of them have FPGAs in them, some of them have GPUs in them. We also have some large memory nodes. So in the case of doing genomics analysis, sometimes the large memory nodes are really a key critical component to do that research. We also have to have database systems and also data storage. So in the case of Skip's work, they have a lot of the genome data from NIH, so the 10,000 Genome Project as well. And so they're able to mine that data to look for maybe cancer markers, et cetera. In the case of NDSSL, they have databases that has all the census data, also the road infrastructure and other infrastructure as well, like cell towers, et cetera. So one of the things we've been trying to do is grow the system. So working with y'all, the researchers, we'd like to work with you in identifying what sort of resources do you need, and then trying to help you with getting funding. In one case, we went with NDSSL through a DoD program called DURP, which is Defense University Research Instrumentation Program, and we ended up with a grant about $300,000 to expand Shadowpacks. Also, we've been working with Central IT, and they're put in a proposal recently into the campus network infrastructure grant through NSF. And the key here is if this does come through, hopefully it's going to increase the availability of networks, high-speed networks, to various departments on campus so that we can move data into and out of our facilities. So if you look at, in the labs here, we're generating a lot of genomic data. So somebody else may want that data somewhere at their center, so we have to transfer it out. But there might be cases where we want to pull data in from other locations as well. So future plans. So one of the things that we see coming in the future is that we have to have a way of tracking all this metadata. And also for you guys, you have some data that you know you're going to eventually publish a paper on. Well, at some point you might want to have that data available for other people to use. So if we can tag that data, as you move that data around the system, you don't have to worry about which folder I put it in. You just have it tagged with the correct information. We can keep track of it, and then the system can, you know, if somebody says, I need to look up so-and-so's paper, they can put that information into the keyword search and pull it up, and the data's there. This week, we've had a group from Dell and Total Site Solutions looking at renovating a facility here at VBI. Currently, Shadowfax has kind of reached the limit of our data center. So we've run out of cooling in that data center upstairs. So we're now looking at potentially expanding into a 2,600 square feet on the bottom floor of the building and adding more power, more cooling, so we can continue growing the computational infrastructure here at VBI. We have some new systems coming in that are going to add to Shadowfax in the next few months. So we're getting about 34 nodes. It's going to add about 800 more cores and about 4.3 more terabytes. And also we have some new very large shared memory systems that are coming in. They're going to have about 60 cores each and 3 terabytes of memory. So here's kind of the services that the IT staff provides. So we have a help desk team, a system engineering team, database support, and also a software development team. And here's the various groups here. So we want to work with you. We want to work with trying to figure out how we can build the infrastructure you guys need to get your research done. So thank you, and I think we're going to do our panel now.